Adrian, do you guys have a sense of wanting to get some payback after last year's game against Northwestern and then coming off for this week?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call it payback, but I'm definitely aware of what occurred last year, and I think that was last year's team's problem. Northwestern's a good football team. They're disciplined just like they were last year, and we're looking forward for another opportunity. Get back on the field this week.
What do you make of the series with Northwestern? I mean, historically, the eight times crowned, only 21 points separate the teams over 8 years, and a couple overtime games, Hail Mary a few years back. Kind of what do you make of that series?
Well, yeah, like you said, I think there's a history of a lot of great games being played and kind of crazy finishes. Again, Northwestern's a very solid football team, and they're not going to make a lot of mistakes, not going to have a lot of penalties, things like that. And I think they have a history of that. And
that was one of your first breakout games last year. I mean, what about their defense did you like as you kind of went at them a year ago?
Well, that's tough to say. I think they're a good defensive team, solid. I think that just speaks to where I was at last year with things. Not necessarily that they were given a certain look that let me kind of explode there. But again, just going to be prepared for this week, prepared for what they bring defensively, and they have a couple really good players on that side of the ball.
Are turnovers contagious? In other words, once one happens, then a second one is more likely, or is each one of them just their own thing, and you just have to isolate each mistake?
I wouldn't necessarily think that they're contagious. I would say they're more isolated, dependent on whatever circumstances, that drive has or that game, whatever it may be. I don't have too much else to say on that.
Is there something you guys are talking about as it relates to just the turnover category in general, or you guys just look at the specific play and say, I need to prevent that next time?
Yeah, well, a lot of it's ball security, and then another piece of it is throwing interceptions, and that's more just as far as interceptions are concerned, isolating that play, depending on my read, whatever may have happened during the play, the throw, and then when it comes to fumbles, it's something that we work on every day in practice, and it's a conscious effort to be better at ball security, and that goes for me. It goes for all the rest of the offensive guys.
Adrian, what do you rely on in your your whole evolution as a quarterback over the years to help get you past some of the things that you've dealt with these past all 5 of these games? Just like the problems that you've had, where do you where do you look in your past to help with this?
Well, yeah, I think it's no secret. It's definitely out there that I've been through a lot as a person, and then as a player, just being a part of this program, having great coaches, great people around me that I could fall back on. And I think the rest of the guys on this team feel the same way. We're already moving on towards this next week. We're already focused on this week's opponent, Northwestern. We realize we have a really good team in front of us, and we're excited for that opportunity to go out there and play again in front of Memorial Stadium.
What were your main takeaways from watching film of last week's game?
Don't want to talk too much about it. We're moving on to this week. Excited for this opportunity to play again.
Did you see that out of teammates too? Because you said right after the game, this isn't going to define this team. Did you see? You talked about the 24-hour rule. Mm-hmm. How have you seen guys kind of move on like you seem to be doing?
Yeah, well, like I said after that game, and like I'll say right now, that won't define this team. What will define us is how we finish, how we can react, how we can bounce back this upcoming week. And we have another opportunity. It's football. We have another opportunity this Saturday, and it started with us coming to work this Monday, and I think we did that today.
That sense of wanting to get back on the field, is that heightened after you have a performance that wasn't your best?
I would think anytime you get a chance to go out there and play, it's an opportunity you're excited for, and I think regardless of what happened the week before.
What kind of did you do yesterday and Saturday night to kind of flush this one and just look ahead to Northwestern? Did you kind of just put football out of your mind, or did you kind of watch film, or what kind of was the process for that?
Yeah, well, I sat back and watched NFL on Sunday, worked on some accounting homework. Nothing too new. It's just the life of a student athlete, and again, going back to having great people around me that I can fall back on. And I'm excited for this new challenge that we have this Saturday. And it's just putting things in perspective. It's still an honor to be here in Nebraska. It's still an honor to play quarterback here, and you can't take for granted a Monday practice, and that's what I did today. It's how I wanted to look at it, how I wanted to treat it. I wanted to set an example for the team and move forward.
Ross said on his TV show last night that the flex bone, whatever you guys call it, is going to be a part of the offense going forward. What do you think of that formation? Have you ever run anything like it in high school?
I didn't. I did in middle school, whatever that's worth. But I like it. I think it could be a real weapon for us moving forward, and we're going to continue to work on it and progress with it, and we'll see where it goes, in the coming future.
When you're running that option play and you kind of have to read it out, how is that maybe different than a shotgun option read, where you're kind of looking at the defense versus kind of running alongside of it?
I think it is different. I think it is a little bit of a different read, but it's something that we practice, and I think just being, kind of a dual-threat athletic quarterback, that getting those reps and just working on it, you get used to kind of reacting in that way.
Scott ran that a lot when he was in college. Did he give you any pointers about how to operate in that environment when you're in traffic trying to figure that out?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's a better guy to learn from than Coach Frost, the guy who did it a ton in college, and I think he gets all the ins and outs of it.
Did he model it for you in practice?
Yeah, a few times.
Adrian, why do you think that series of plays worked late in the second quarter? What about your personnel makes that effective?
Yeah, well, I don't want to speak too much on last week's game, but I think it took them off guard a little bit, and it's something that we've been working on, and again, I think the guys had an attack mentality, and the offensive line did a great job with that series of plays.
You said this summer that you didn't watch much film from the 90s because you don't run the same offense, but have you looked at any of those clips since, or would you now?
Yeah, I've looked at the clips, seen Coach Frost in action, pretty fast guy.
You're still faster though, right?
Yeah, well, we'll hold off on that for now. I can't say too much after, getting tracked down last game, so.
What do you think of Dietrich's progress that he's made throughout the season?
I think he's evolved as a player, and it's come at him, I think in different levels. Since when he first got here, the learning curve's been interesting for him, and I think he's done a great job of just handling it all and practicing hard. I think that's one thing that hasn't changed, is that he's just been full attack mode in practice and games. You could tell he's working his tail off, and the offense is coming faster and faster for him, and I think he's just becoming a better player, with each day.
Did he really carry the ball around with him everywhere last week?
He did, yeah, and I tried hitting it away from him. I came up from behind in the players' lounge, I did all that stuff. So, again, he takes it seriously. It means a lot to him, and us as players notice that.
Anything else for Adrian?
What kind of accounting class is it?
It's accounting 201. 201. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Hi, this is Jason Jorgensen, Sports Director at KRVN. Thanks for watching our YouTube video. To keep up to date with everything we have going on with our sports coverage, you can find that, and we'd love to have you subscribe to our channel. Just hit the little red button in the right corner.